Hello everyone, welcome to Live with Sirus Migration. There's so many information that we would like to share today, but mostly we're going to be talking about general skill migration and information and updates about general migration process. But today we're going to more importantly talk about student visa changes that comes up on 23rd, which is a couple of days away, 23rd of March. So welcome to the session. Again, my name is Surya. I'm a registered migration agent here from Sirus Migration, and I've got
Ashani
from Sirus Migration. So we're going to be talking about the variations from general GS.
it used to be, right now what we have is the GTE, which is Genuine Temporary Entrant Criteria for a Student Visa. And from 23rd of March, the new system is going to replace the GTE. Only the GTE criteria will remain for student dependent applicants, but for the students it's going to be replaced with a system called Genuine Student Requirement, which is called GSR. So up until 23rd of March, if you lodged a student visa, you have to write a big statement explaining how you're a genuine temporary entrant and how you're going to go back to your home country after studying. But from 23rd, there's going to be specific questions asked in that application.
Within the application form itself.
That's right. That covers, so they're going to be asked about their current circumstances, including the family ties, community, employment and economic circumstances back home. And also they're going to ask about why you chose Australia as a study destination and what benefits the course is going to provide to the applicant.
Are we going to talk about it now? Or
for applicants with a study history in Australia, details of their study. So if you have been to Australia before, they're going to talk about
the next one.
Talk about the study history of Australia and why they're going to come back to Australia. And also they're going, if they are holding a visa other than a student visa, then they're going to ask why you're applying for a student visa. And lastly, they're going to ask other relevant information the applicant wishes to provide. So they're going to use this criteria to determine if this person or the applicant is a genuine student or not.
So the main difference is instead of writing a 300-word statement, they're going to ask specific questions that normally that would have been in the actual statement to be specifically answer those questions within the application form rather than a statement. And also, which we have already seen, instead of the department where they have doubts or queries about this genuine temporary criteria, they have started interviewing applicants mostly via phone calls. So if you have applied for a student visa, don't get surprised if you have a phone call from immigration asking certain questions and to understand or clarify
so
their doubts.
Be prepared and especially have the answers ready to these questions that we already know that they're going to ask. I think this is actually a good initiative for student visa rather than writing that very long 4, 5, 6 page GTE.
This has been there like time back. If we talk about, I can't be specific, things, prior 2012, 13, there was a process where they randomly interviewed in person as well. So it's a good thing. So rather than refusing a visa, the if the case officer has a doubt, it's a good thing that the case officer interview the applicant, so they get to have a
applicant's view as well on the application, not just what's on a piece of paper.
So I think it's a good positive thing, and also have the applicants get a chance and opportunity to explain in person or via the phone call how genuine they are and what's their intentions and how they're going to come back and all that sort of things. Also, there'll be a disclosure statement that the applicants have to declare that they understand the purpose of studying in Australia, and
they're going to comply
circumstances
with
of
the student visa conditions.
circumstances of changes, if they were to change the courses and change their mind or anything like that. And also they need to declare that they understand there is a post-study permanent residency pathway, but it is only limited to certain numbers, so it's not a guaranteed program for everyone. So
Yeah, and also whoever has already lodged the application, student visa applications, and not decided by 23rd of March, they will still be assessed against GTE. This is only the application that's lodged from 23rd of March that's going to be assessed with, what is it called, the new one, GSR.
So the applications after
23rd of March.
23rd of March, which is, let's say, give or take next Monday, you'll have to address the new system rather than the old system. So
Yep.
the statements, submissions, they're going to be a new one. What else is new? I think we've spoken about this last time as well. The English requirement has changed slightly. So English requirement for diplomas and student visa in general has been changed from 5.5 to 6, and ELI courses, if you're planning to come to study ELI course, the requirement was 4.5. Now it has jumped from 4.5 to 5, and foundation courses have you 5.5. So the foundation program, it remains as 5.5 actually, right? Yeah. And on top of a TGV, temporary graduate visa, the requirement has gone up from overall band of 6 to 6.5, and the sub scores been gone up from
5.5 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this doesn't affect the Hong Kong passport holders where they have the special arrangements where they get the 5-year visa. Those people are not affected by this new increase in English points. And also, it used to be you could have done your English test anytime in the past 3 years, just by the time you apply for your 485. Now it has gone down to 1 year. So that I think is a significant change. Because we always tell our clients, if you have done an English test in the past 3 years, that's fine. But now that requirement has gone, you have to have completed your English test in the last year.
So that's a big one actually. PTE, IELTS, it remains the same still for most of the courses and occupations. But if you were to study specific courses like teaching, etc., you need to do IELTS only, and your sub scores remains the same. This is the minimum requirements that we talked about. So that's more about the student visa big changes. So if you have any questions, or if you want to clarify anything in relation to student visas, please feel free to be in touch, and we're happy to discuss your individual circumstances. On top of this, we've seen universities taking a little longer to process your applications as these processes got implemented, and they want to make sure that everything's in line. So if you apply to a university or an institute and it's taken a little longer than what's expected, don't be surprised. So most of these applications getting through, we're seeing the COEs coming through faster now than last month. So if you have an issue or a problem with your application or enrollment process, or if you have any doubts on your student visa application, be in touch. We'll be happy to help you through the process. So the next topic when we're going to talk is general skill migration, I guess. So yeah. So general skill migration. So until then, before we start, if you have any questions, Feel free to write your question down below in the comment section, whether you're coming from YouTube or Facebook or any other platform, and we'll endeavor to get through your answers 101. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, it's the time to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and move on. So, general skill migration. Do we have any pictures, Mario, to show? Okay, we normally talk about this is mostly an independent visa program where you don't need an employer or employee to support. So general skill migration, you have subcategories 189, 190, 491. If you go through 189, as we say always, it's a federally invited application process. You have to put your expression of interest, and depending on your point scores and background, you'll get an invitation. 190, you have to first go through your state, but you'll be achieving extra 5 points. 491, you have to go through your state, but you'll be getting extra 15 points. This is a regional based application. Different states, different regional areas got different requirement for this. So depending on your actual occupation, the possibilities are a bit different.
Yeah, and the only change, the big difference, the only big news about Queensland is they had an opportunity for applicants to register for priority processing, given that they qualify for that, and we did that. They only gave like 2 or 3 day window. So we've done that, and we are waiting for some invitations from Queensland, but we haven't really heard too much.
Before we move on to the next topic, we've got a question from Chatu Disanayaka. What are the pathways for hair and beautician in Australia? I'm a qualified beautician with NVQ level 4 certificate. So again, different states got possibilities for general skill migration on top of it. If you have a qualification plus at least 2 years work experience, you may be eligible to go through your employee nominated scheme as well. The requirements are you need to have 2 years work experience plus your qualification, and also with English you require to have vocational English, which is IELTS 5 in each band or PTE 36. But the most importantly, you need to have an employer who's willing to employ you, and they need to be able to offer you the job pathway according to the requirements. So you need to go through the labor market testing and also offer you a genuine job position with the right base and etc.
These days it takes about 2 months to process 482, 1 month to 2 months. Tarindu is asking how long it takes to process a 482, so that's what we have seen. And I think 482 is getting a little bit stricter again. Departments questioning about especially the genuine position, and if you're offering the right salary, if the employer can afford to pay this person, so they are a bit more looking into this than the COVID times.
We got a question from YouTube about from Raj.
Please let us know about 186 from Cook. So yes, about 3 months ago, a cook could not apply for 186. The tables have turned. Now cooks can apply for 186 as long as you apply for a 482 visa first and work for the same employer while holding the 482 for continuous 2 years. Then you are eligible to lodge subclass 186 TRT. So you have to hold the visa and then work for the employer. If you work for the employer before even you get the 482, some clients ask us, can we count that time towards the 186 TRT? Unfortunately, answer is no. You have to hold the 482 and then work for the employer for 2 years.
Good question. 186 also. 186 is the employee nominated permanent residency pathway. 186 has 2 streams. 186 direct entry and also 186 transitional. We also call
resident transition.
Yeah, TRT.
Yeah.
So depending on your occupation, we can pick whichever the suitable one. 186 medium to, if your occupation is in medium to long term skill occupation list, you have the choice of whether going through 482 first or 186. It depends on your employer as well. But if your occupation is in short-term skill occupation lists such as cook, then the only way for you to get to permanent residency at this stage through work visa program or employee nominated program is through TRT. So which means you need to apply for 482, work for an employer under 482 visa for at least 2 years, and then apply for 186 under TRT. And hope that answered the question. But if you're a chef, it's different. Again, you get that option of 186 direct entry. So if you have an occupation, if you have an qualification and 3 years work experience with a skills assessment, and compete in English, which is IELTS 6, so PTE 15 each band, then you can apply through 186 direct entry straight away. Janice Thomas, hi Mr. and Mrs. Yapa, how long will it take to get a COE from the university? Good question. So university COE process goes as, you got to apply for an enrollment first, get an offer letter of offer. Once you fulfill the conditions in the letter of offer, then you can apply for the COE. So depending on the university and the program, some university program, let's say bachelors of IT, bachelors of business, they are quite straightforward than certain other courses like bachelors in teaching or bachelors in medicine. They need to have a few layer of verifications that the admission team has to go through. At some times, if you're also applying for credit, they might have to go through the faculties to get certain approvals. So in that process, it can take a little longer than the others. And normally, certain universities these days give the letter of offer within, some gives it within 24 hours, some 48 hours. Some may take a week or two for the offer. As long as you fulfill all the conditions and pay the university fees, COE can be anywhere from a couple of days to 1 week or 2 weeks. But lately, last month, we've seen a bit of delays, longer than usual. That's due to the new visa changes and the change of procedures for universities. We have spoken to many universities and had many discussions and meetings in relation to this, and they are putting their systems together as fast as possible to comply with the system. And so, long story short, within a week or so. So I got a question from Ramiz Mark. I arrived in Brisbane on the 8th of this month as a student's dependent. I have full-time work rights. I am a qualified quantity surveyor, estimator, contract administrator. What are my chances of getting a 482 visa? Good question. So you're currently a dependent visa, in a dependent student visa. If you're in a dependent student visa under a master's program, you should have full-time work rights. That also allows you to go and work for someone and maybe convince them to get you a 482 visa. So it is possible as long as you have previous 2 years work experience and a qualification, which is a bachelor's degree for this category, and for the time being it's vocational English. Then if an employer express their interest to sponsor you, then you can definitely apply for 482 program, and sometimes you might even be able to apply for 186 if you qualified enough. And also, depending on your country of citizenship, you may or may not require skills assessment if you go through the 482 program anyway. Hope that answered the question.
Yes, as is saying, I'm an engineer graduate from University of Muratua. What are the pathways for me to migrate to Australia?
Very big question.
It depends if you have work experience or not, and what are your English and other requirements. I think it is possible, given that you're an engineering graduate. If you can please get in touch with us, admin@sirus.com.au. We are happy to give you a consultation. First, get your CV and have a look, and see if you have prospects right now, or if you need to improve on few aspects. Then we can definitely get back to you and show you the pathway.
Looking in a broader picture, short answer, you can consider general skill migration, also employee nominated scheme, but depending on your background, your work experience, your English results and all that, then we can give you other options. So
Shashini is asking, can we apply for student visa with study gaps? I have been to few agents in Sri Lanka. They rejected me because I have a gap of 1 year after my bachelor's.
So, Sashini, it depends on your background right now. I mean, if you only have 1 year bachelor's background gap, it might not be the right answer, as long as it depends on what have you done before after your bachelor's. Have you been working in the industry? Have you done an internship? What have you been studying? So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to keep on studying. It could be a bit of a gap between study and work experience. So if you'd like to discuss further, maybe in touch with us, and then we'll guide you through if you're eligible as well. So maybe like the requirements has strengthened a little bit, as we said before, for student visa program, and they're a bit more stricter than usual. But if you have a genuine pathway, we're happy to explore your options for you.
Rifkan is saying, my wife has completed BA in Early Childhood Education from Malaysia, and she has also completed level 7 graduate diploma, but she has not having the 45 days supervised training letter. What is the option she is having? So this 45 days supervised training is what we need for the skill assessment, to get a skill assessment as a early childhood educator. If you don't have the 45 days training, unfortunately, if she doesn't have other experience, we cannot really get the skills assessment.
AITSL accept Malaysian university degree. We have to check which university, yes. And there is a database of universities that they directly accept and indirectly accept. So if you like to contact us, set up an appointment with one of us, happy to go through your qualification and give you further information in relation to this question.
Yeah, so Raj is asking, as my visa is for 2 years and I can apply 186 at 22 months, or I need to apply for 482. So if your visa is for 2 years, then what they said, 186 TRT, you can lodge it few days earlier, but you need to show that 24 months working. So if you can't apply 22 months, because then you will only have 22 months of working for the employer. So that's impossible. But few days less, it's fine. What what I did for one of my clients this week, we actually applied the last day. So she was an onshore client, same scenario, 482. She was working for the same employer, so by the time the visa granted, from the first day she started working, and her 482 was ending last, actually day before yesterday, and we lodged it on that last day.
Very
so she
good
has
question.
That
it's a very common question as
24 months. So that's what you'll have to do, Raj.
And
Happy to give you some personal advice to looking at your case. Get in touch with us, admin@sirus.com.au.
And one other thing in this relation to remember as well, a lot of people, when they get the visa, they spend few months before they come to Australia. So make sure as soon as you get the visa, get to work as soon as possible, because it counts.
But I have a feeling that they should change this. If they are saying 2 years are allowed and only short-term skilled can apply for 2 years, they should grant extra like 1 or 2 months visa. So
That's,
people can prepare and come.
It might be an idea, but it's not the case at the
Yeah,
moment.
that's
But
right.
Currently you have the option to apply for 3 years instead of 2. No, you can't with the
not with the short-term stream. That's the problem. Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next topic quickly. So the whole idea of this program is to discuss your background and your questions rather than us talking about the topics. So let's see if you have any questions. We've got another 5-10 minutes. We can answer your questions. Until then, let's have a quick chat about partner visa.
Yeah.
Let's do partner visa. So partner visa is Ashani's favorite, so you can talk about partner visa.
So as I said, partner visa is when the sponsor is an Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, or an eligible New Zealander. They are married to or they're in a relationship with a person from overseas. Then in most cases they are eligible for partner visa, but we do suggest somehow if they don't have the relationship is not strong enough, or they don't have enough evidence, or they're not married, sometimes we suggest prospective marriage visa. That's called subclass 300. The applicant has to be offshore to lodge a prospective marriage visa.
You can only apply for it if you are not married yet.
That's right.
And you have to have met in person at least once before you can do this too. You can't do it online.
Yeah, so with the prospective marriage visa, the applicant can come to Australia for 1.5 years, and they have 9 months to get married. Then they can apply for a partner visa. But if you're already in a strong relationship with evidence, then you are eligible to lodge a partner visa. What's the best thing about lodging a partner visa onshore is that as soon as you lodge the partner visa, the applicant is eligible for a bridging visa, which has full-time work rights and which has no conditions. So we've been having many inquiries from people who are already in Australia on student visas, visitor visas, working holiday visas, or different kinds of other visas, wanting to move on to a partner visa because they're in a relationship with an Australian. So I think if this is the case, that's a great option. Partner visas are a bit costly. The application fee is $8,850. That's one of the highest fees for any Australian visa, so you have to get it right the first time. Otherwise, it can take a lot of time and waste of your money. So it's always good to be in touch with the migration agent, get the right advice, whether it's partner visa for you or prospective marriage, or what is the option to be with your Australian partner.
So Juliet's got a question. Juliet Subodhini, what are the medical requirements need for a work visa?
So you have to undergo if you are lodging a 482 onshore, you don't need to do medical. They changed that requirement, where some of the temporary visas lodged in Australia, they don't need to have the medicals. So for 482 is one of them, but if you're lodging it offshore, you definitely need to go through the health examination, if that's what the question meant.
So global talent. Mario wants us to talk about global talent before we... Global talent is a good opportunity for people, highly skilled, prominent people with global recognition and experience and exposure. So global talent's got... if you don't need to go through a skills assessment, or there is no English requirement for this. This is a broadly open visa category where you don't need so many
but
requirements
you don't need
to
so
fulfill.
Much, but you do need so much. Let me put it that way.
There's no age limit. There's no English limit. So there's no skill assessment requirement. So there are good things. Let's talk about what is it for. So if you got a prominent skill, globally recognized skill in any of these 10 target sectors that you can see from this side, this side.
No, the other side.
The other side. So
Yeah.
this side. Resources, agri, and agtech, energy, any of these categories. There is no minimum education requirement like bachelor's degree.
Not for a EOI, but for a visa there is an English requirement, but for EOI. So I think this is for people beyond that skills assessment and
yes.
English. Mostly people who are... Most of my clients were at least 35 to 40 plus. Who's been in their field, prominent, with world recognition of what they are doing and connected with the stakeholders in a country for that sector.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they work with peak bodies and highly recognized people in this sector. So most of these applicants are from all over the place. They've worked all over the place as well, and they have clients in different countries. They have exposure to people in different countries, different setups. So there's no age limit, as I said. It can be 45, 55, whatever. But if you're beyond 55, you need to show how your skills can be that demanded in Australia. One of the benchmarks can be your earnings are over 167,500 as at this stage. It changes on CPI change once a year. You need to have a nominator who's an Australian employer or Australian permanent resident or a citizen who's also prominent in this sector.
Or it can be an Australian organisation. One of my clients getting sponsored by a hospital, government institute.
It can be a financial institute. I mean, I've got a client who's getting sponsored or nominated by one of the IT giants in the world. Their department in Australia, they're doing it. So it can be an employer or an organisation, as Ashani said. So with this nomination, this is an invitation-only visa where you have to put an expression of interest. People take this part easy. This is actually one of the hardest part during the process. So you got to put an expression of interest, and let it run. And it takes from anywhere from 1 day to 1 year. Some clients shouldn't say so lucky. They're so demanded in Australia, their qualifications, so you get processed or get invited within a matter of days. And some clients in general can take up to 8 months to a year or so for an invitation at this stage. Once you get the invitation, you can apply for the visa. Visa can take anywhere from 3 months to a year as well. So as I said, the first part is the harder part. We have done many videos on this. It's in YouTube. If you type Sirus Migration Global Talent, you can see a series of videos. We are actually working on a couple of videos right now, talking about specific sectors. If you have any questions or inquiries about your recognition for Global Talent Visa, share your CV with us, and then we'll set up a meeting to discuss further about this. This visa suits certain clients very well, and it's a lot less hassle to go through the process.
If this visa is for you, you should know. You will know.
Yeah, you'll have the feeling. Or
yes.
If I have a client whose wife watched us through this live session, and she works on the process rather than him because he's highly qualified, but he doesn't have time to work on all this. So if you know someone who's got these prominent skills, again, you don't have to go through the English hassle or the skill assessment hassle. You just have to prove who you are, and you got the global exposure and the talents. So I think it's been a nice session. I think we've got one last question we'll address right now.
Rifkan saying 45 days supervised training letter is not there. Can she work in a EC early childhood center for 1 year and apply for early childhood educator? I don't think so, Rifkan. I have to double check and tell you, but from working with my previous clients, if your qualification doesn't have the training, then you can't use that qualification for the skills assessment. That's where the problem. It's not like she needs work experience. It's that training has to be included in your qualification. That is the requirement.
AITSL is quite strict on your skill assessment, but I think it'll be good to have a chat and have a proper discussion before we go forward with your application.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your time. We will see you again in 2 weeks' time. But if there's any other important news coming out, we'll always be online talking about it. So as Isuru said earlier, if you haven't subscribed, do that. And What else, Mariam?
Hit the
Hit
thumbs
the
up button,
thumbs up
the
button.
subscribe button, so you'll get to know our news as it comes in Australian immigration sector. All right. Thank you for joining.
See ya.
See ya.